Welcome to Inside JCCC. My name is Joe Sopcich and I'm the president here of Johnson County Community College. Inside JCCC provides you with a behind-the-scenes look into what goes on in one of our over 20 buildings that we have on 234 acres here on our campus. But what's really important is what goes on behind those walls. Our faculty and staff put on the best programs possible that will ensure success for our students and help them in the classroom and beyond. So sit back and enjoy, and welcome to Inside JCCC.
Hello, I'm Koki Sabatez. I'm a student here at Johnson County Community College. This edition of Inside JCCC introduces you to the Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art here on the college campus. In 1990, the college opened a small art gallery in the Carlson Center. With community support, however, that small art gallery grew into a museum, which opened on campus in 2007. An atrium connects the Nerman Museum to the college's Rainier Center. In the atrium is Café Tempo, where museum visitors and students can stop by for breakfast or lunch. The Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art is named after the Nerman family in recognition of their lead gift to help found an art museum for JCCC.
They decided that they really wanted to have the naming opportunity for the museum because their personal collection is one of the largest and finest of contemporary art in the region. That decision was made in 2003, prior to opening the museum, and we've worked closely with them in terms of selecting the architect for the building and other aspects. The architect for the museum, Kyu-Sung Woo, an internationally renowned architect who's based out of Cambridge, Massachusetts, was adamant that he wanted the museum to be clad in Kansas limestone. We also have two enormous walls that extend into the landscape, and he wanted those to reference the limestone outcroppings that you often find in this region. The museum itself is a great minimalist, modernist building, and it's indicative of Kyu-Sung Woo's design sensibility. And it's also won enormous numbers of awards since its opening in 2007. It is the largest contemporary art museum in the four-state region, and it encompasses 41,000 square feet over 2 floors. In addition to 10 galleries, we also have a 200-seat auditorium, the Hudson Auditorium. We have a children's classroom, an adult classroom, a new media gallery, a 110-seat cafe, and we have a special gallery dedicated exclusively to the works of Kansas artists. The Kansas Focus Gallery is a jewel-like space that actually does focus on the works of artists associated with Kansas. It's the direct result of a generous gift from the Barton P. and Mary D. Cohen Charitable Trust, and it's really allowed us to build yet another significant aspect of the permanent collection. In addition to the major collection of works by artists associated with Kansas City, this now allows us to focus on those artists who have some association with Kansas. Either they were born here, they lived here, they worked here, they were educated here, etc.
Since 1993, JCCC has received support from Tony and Marty Oppenheimer and the Oppenheimer Brothers Foundation to build a collection of contemporary art known as the Oppenheimer Collection, and to support visual art on the JCCC campus.
Two of our most major patrons are Marty and Tony Oppenheimer. They became involved on the campus in 1992, and over the several decades, they have helped us amass a very significant collection of international and nationally renowned artists. That collection now numbers over 150 works of art, many of which are on view on a rotating basis in our permanent collection galleries. Many of the galleries and spaces within the Nerman Museum are named for various donors. The largest of the first floor galleries is named for Marty and Tony Oppenheimer, as well as the second floor gallery, which is a bit unique in our region because it is devoted to new media. And often what we're showing in that exhibition space are film projections, video projections, artists that are working with some sort of electronic media. Today, we have 16 sculptures across campus, and a number of those are a result of the patronage of Marty and Tony Oppenheimer also. The Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art is strictly a contemporary art museum, so the majority of the works you'll see on view are by living artists. As a consequence, when we have an exhibition, when we have an opening, we generally have the artists here to lecture in conjunction with the exhibition. We also really have looked to a diverse range of works to include in the museum. And one aspect that's quite unique to the Nerman in terms of major contemporary art museums is our focus on contemporary American Indian art. We now have over 150 major works by contemporary American Indian artists. The permanent collection at the Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art includes numerous internationally recognized artists. Artists like Elizabeth Murray, Carrie James Marshall, Dana Schutz, Louise Bourgeois, Stefan Balkanal, too many to mention here. The college has very avidly collected contemporary art, feeling strongly that we should be addressing the art of our times and collecting the work of living artists. The collection encompasses over 1,300 artists currently, and it now represents the largest collection of artists associated with Kansas City, but it's also international in scope.
Much of the college's collection is installed in collection focus areas in the corridors, dining halls, and other highly visible and accessible locations around campus, sparking a spontaneous engagement with art for students, faculty, staff, and visitors.
Generally, those are organized by medium, so you can go to different destination points on campus and see a collection of contemporary ceramics, contemporary painting, contemporary American Indian art. The Nerman Museum hosts 9 to 10 temporary exhibitions a year, but in addition to that, we often change out the permanent collection so that new works are put on view and rotated throughout the museum galleries. Typically, we essentially curate each of the permanent collection galleries. So the Kaufman Gallery exhibits a range of works that deal with identity, with gender, with personal narrative. Another gallery might focus on abstraction. Another gallery dealing with figurative works. And then the Cohen Gallery tends to focus on artists that have a connection to Kansas City. And that one is on the second floor of the museum as well. I should also mention that we have a range of events that occur at the Nerman Museum. Beyond Bounds is a biennial fundraiser that occurs every 2 years, in which we ask about 150 artists from all over America to participate. And we provide them a specific medium, and they create a work of art based upon that, and then those are sold in live and silent auctions. We have concerts at the museum, we have different musical programs. We also have a lot of events that have to do with other departments on campus in the Hudson Auditorium. So there's a constant array of events and exhibitions and activities always at the Nerman Museum. We've partnered with a number of area arts organizations through the years. One of them is the Arts Council of Johnson County. Every year, the Nerman Museum hosts the Shooting Stars exhibition. That's a program for high school seniors where they're awarded scholarships to the college of their choice. And on the second floor mezzanine of the museum, we host that exhibition, generally of 40 to 50 works of art every spring. And I have to say that it's one of our most popular events. We'll have up to 1,000 people through in 1 hour for that installation. Additionally, we've worked closely with the Charlotte Street Foundation of Kansas City, which is an organization which very much supports artists within a 30-mile radius of Kansas City. And we host an exhibition of those artists periodically at the Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art. We have a very strong education department here at the museum. Much of that is directed to students that are enrolled here at the college, but we also have children's classes, and we have a very active docent program. By contacting our education department, you can arrange tours for groups, again, from all over the country or locally for different organizations.
We have various educational programs and resources for students and visitors of all ages, so they can develop critical thinking skills and visual literacy. People can approach a work of art that they're unfamiliar with and pick it apart, understand the artist's choices and the processes involved and a little bit of the context as well, so they can make a connection with the artwork. Our tours are interactive art appreciation tours, and they're designed to facilitate understanding of our exhibitions and collection on view throughout the campus. The museum provides various resources to facilitate independent learning, and this includes the printed visitor orientation guide that has maps as well as a guide to contemplating contemporary art. Interpretive and biographical information can be found on the wall labels adjacent to the individual artworks. In collaboration with the library staff, the museum developed an online research guide for contemporary visual art, so students and visitors can learn more about the artist whose works are on view. Our free guided tours are led by volunteer docents who have gone through a comprehensive training program here through the museum. Tours are available for college classes, community groups, and school groups starting with kindergarten. The museum offers a popular series of studio classes for children in the summer and on Saturdays throughout the academic year. The Early Explorations program welcomes children ages 5 to 7, while the Contemporary Creations classes provide more advanced lessons for children ages 8 to 11. Each day, students explore selected works of art in the museum or out on campus, and then they create studio projects back in our children's classroom. For the balance and symmetry class that the Early Explorations program was doing, they were learning about masks and symmetry in sculpture in our American Indian exhibition. So they talked about the basic concepts of symmetry, what's the same on this side versus that side, bilateral symmetry in the classroom. And then when they looked at the original works of art, they saw some artists are sticking to that and some of them are making variations. And masks could be so many different things to different cultures. The children back in the classroom then think about their own favorite animal or what does a mask mean to them, and they make their creation in the classroom. For ages 8 to 11, we have more advanced lessons, and these children probably have some experience making art, whether it's clay or painting from their school. And here we take it in a new direction where they're learning about professional works of art by artists who are maybe pushing the boundaries or using something non-traditional. And so the children are able to expand what they've done previously into new directions.
See, I can make a deeper line by drawing. You can draw right in it. I'm going to draw my basic steps. So I'm going to kind of draw where I'm going to take the fish out. And this is going to be the front of the fish.
One of the unique things about our program is that the children are learning about original works of art. So they've probably never seen those works in photographs or on TV or in books, in the movies, the famous artworks that you might think about that the teachers cover in school. Here they're seeing original works of art. So they're seeing the large scale paintings, they're seeing the texture that the artist has created this unique work of art. And they get a sense that somebody created this, and they find that very inspiring when they think about their own artworks and they make those connections when they do their hands-on creation.
Some programs that we have are specific to the campus. We do a program called Third Thursdays during the regular academic year.
The Third Thursday programs are designed to promote student interface with professional artists working within our community and beyond. Each of these free presentations features a local artist paired with a faculty moderator, and hundreds of students attend these programs. Occasionally we get to feature an artist who has a work in our permanent collection. We were fortunate to have Roger Shimomura, the Lawrence-based artist, come out and do a presentation in the fall of 2013.
So the day before the first enrollment, he came in, first enrollment to the University of Washington, he came in and said, well, have you thought about going into pre-med, And I said, no, as I'm going into art. And he said, your three uncles are artists. They never went to university. They all went to 2-year art schools, and it'd be a waste to go to a 4-year university could become like them. He tried that approach. And I said, I don't care. That's what I'm going to do. And he says, let's compromise. And I thought, how do you compromise between being a doctor and an artist?
On Fridays during the academic year, we have Noon at the Nerman.
The Noon at the Nerman program is a series of Friday gallery talks that we have throughout the academic year. And each week, a different faculty or staff member from campus will select a work of art and do a presentation for about 20 minutes.
There were no safety conditions. And so one part of feminism then had a working class element.
We developed Noon at the Nerman in collaboration with Allison Smith, art history professor. And we decided that we wanted to make it accessible. So there's only one presentation each week over the lunch hour. And that way people can come every week. They can see every presentation throughout the year and hear different perspectives from our faculty and staff members. We had Doug Patterson, the professor of astronomy, do a presentation on Galileo's Garden by Dale Eldred. And that's an outdoor sculpture.
So it's pointed flush with the sun, and we can see a little dot of light right in here. You guys back there can't see this, but on the front there's a little spot of light right there, and when it's right at local noon, that dot will be right there in the middle.
Timothy Hoare in Humanities has presented multiple sessions. One of them that I particularly remember is the untitled watercolor portrait by Till Frywald.
Result of a series of images that were done, a progression that he begins with an actual portrait of the person in a sitting, who is sitting in front of him, and then he paints her, but then does a series of other ones following that without the subject actually being there, until he gets to this final gigantic portrait, which is all done from memory. And so what is he getting here? Is he getting the actual person here, or is he getting an idea of what the subject or who the subject actually was?
We really pride ourselves on looking at a very diverse audience for the museum. The campus often talks about lifelong learning, but at any given time, there's a huge mix of people that visit the museum. All age ranges really can find something to enjoy at the museum. The collection itself is very diverse, ranging from abstraction to realism, sculptures, photography, painting, contemporary ceramics, American Indian art. So there's really something for everybody at the Nerman Museum. The work directly behind me is called Someone, and it's a major sculpture by the artist Do Ho Suh, who divides his time between London, New York, and Seoul, South Korea. The artist is originally from Seoul, South Korea, and he wanted to create a piece over scale of an emperor, of a dictator, of a person of importance, a figure of power. So you see this essentially imperial robe in terms of its style. The entire piece is composed of dog tags, and he wanted to reference all of the anonymous individuals that might have to serve in some sort of military or some sort of organization to essentially support or prop up that individual. And he very much wanted to address the anonymity, oftentimes, of those individuals. The piece is lined in a burgundy velvet, and he did that because he wanted to also reference the bloodshed, oftentimes, the people who lose their lives in an effort to support or prop up that one individual. The work is an icon for the Nerman Museum, and it's one of the most recognizable pieces within the collection. I would say it's also one of the most photographed as well. All of the exhibitions, the programs, lectures, symposiums, etc., are always free at the Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art. And I would encourage you to visit the museum's website, nermanmuseum.org, for an update on what might be happening at the museum any given week. It will also give you information on Café Tempo, the hours of the museum, and any number of things that might be happening here.
About 70,000 people a year now visit the Nerman Museum, which is the largest contemporary art museum in the 4-state region and the only contemporary art museum in Kansas. In April 2006, Public Art Review magazine named JCCC as one of the top 10 college campuses for public art in America. After visiting the Nerman Museum of Contemporary Art, you can see why.